Welcome back to Politics in Progress on this Sunday morning as we come to you from the Ashworth by the Sea in Hampton. All right, next one, 2 parts. So pay attention now because I have a short attention span. All right, a key Senate panel twice beat back efforts Tuesday to create a government-run insurance plan dealing a crippling blow to the hopes of liberals, George, seeking to expand the federal role in health coverage as a cornerstone of reform in a signal moment in the debate over reforming the nation's sprawling health care system. Senate Finance Committee members rejecting 2 amendments to create a public option on votes of 15-8 and 13-10. That's the first part. Second part, both anti- and pro-immigration groups are getting riled up over the health care debate. Immigration groups say the undocumented should be able to purchase coverage with their own money, or else they'll just end up in emergency rooms. Many in Congress on both sides of the aisle don't want illegals to get a cent of coverage. Let's start with the latter, George. Being an immigration lawyer, you certainly can weigh in on this.
I can, and but more than just an immigration lawyer, just as a human being, as an American citizen, I don't think our democracy wants a society of haves and have-nots. Likewise, we don't want people walking around on the streets who are sick and maybe infectious, have some kind of disease, are bleeding and are being ignored. I mean, that is not the kind of society we are. And I don't care if you're documented, undocumented, if you're sick, if you're ill, you deserve to be taken care of. You deserve medical attention. That is, and a great nation deserves to treat the people within its borders, and I don't care under what circumstances they're here, in a humane and dignified way. I mean, it's as simple as that for me.
Fergus, should they provide it?
The immigration issue regarding health care is really a sideshow, and it's really about, do we want government to be running health care, or do we want the private sector to continue to run health care? We already have government ownership of car manufacturers, of financial institutions. We've had the bailout, we've had the stimulus. People are saying enough. We don't trust putting all of this under the care of bureaucrats and government. We want to have individuals and doctors making these decisions. And that's why the Obama agenda is really running into the shoals right now.
Well, you know, individuals and doctors haven't been making these medical decisions for a long time. It's really the big insurance companies that are making these decisions. And if you say, who do you want making the decisions, the insurance companies or the government? At this point, I feel more disposed toward the government. And I'm going to plead guilty right here in public, on the air, that I'm in favor of the public option and I'm in favor of the single payer. And I think that those positions are taken by 60, 65, maybe more of the American people.
I was surprised to see today that Judd Gregg said that he believes that if this passes, or if some package ultimately passes, that he sees a government public, some type of public option in this. And I was kind of surprised that Judd actually has conceded that he thinks that that might be in there. We're seeing these amendments being voted down by Democrats by some pretty significant margins. Now, from what I understand, there are like 500 amendments that we could be going through.
Do people really know what the public option is?
Josh, do you see the public even understanding any of this? And two, are we going to continue to see Democrats vote down these amendments?
Well, I think that the question of what the public understands about what's pending is a good one, and I don't pretend to know the answer. But I also think that one shouldn't read necessarily too much into the votes of the Senate Finance Committee. Yeah. Obviously, it is a blow for those who hope that Max Boggs' committee would come out with a public option in the bill. But there's still the Health Committee has a bill that has a public option, and the House's version does. And the president wants it. A lot of senators. I mean, in some ways, Jeanne Shaheen, I think, is emblematic. She is will say, I prefer the public option, but she has also indicated that she's not going to fall on her sword over it. we'll see. It's a tough thing, and it's about money, and the appetite of the public to spend more money is unclear. There's certainly an appetite for the public to spend less money on health insurance, and to get back to the question of who should be covered and who shouldn't, one way or another, like, people are paying. I mean, if somebody walks into an emergency room and doesn't have insurance and they're getting coverage, people with insurance are paying. So there needs to be some reckoning on that front. We'll see how quickly it comes, and if the political will is there to do something, or what people think is a mid-course that can potentially get some sort of bipartisan action, but may not be required, and the Democrats could ram something through, with 60 votes in the Senate or through reconciliation. I mean, we'll see. I mean, the president's got a lot on his plate right now.
Fergus, are there any circumstances where you could see yourself supporting a public option in any way, shape, or form?
Well, Republicans are for change, are for reform, are not in favor of the status quo, where some people have health care insurance and other people's plan is don't get sick and don't get hurt. I'm 37 years old, and I was uninsured by choice until I got married and suddenly had other people who were responsible, I was responsible for. But as a young, single, healthy person, what is my incentive to go and spend $300 a month insuring myself? And so I chose not to. And but that's wrong. People like me should be encouraged, should have an incentive to be part of the system and not financial economic incentives to be outside of it. So let's make it easier for people to get coverage. Let's try and control costs, certainly. Let's make sure we take care of issues with pre-existing conditions. Let's make it easier to have insurance be portable, so it's not dependent on your employment status. These are some of the reforms and changes that Republicans are in favor of.
But do you think...
I don't disagree with a lot of what he just said.
Wow, I'm glad we have that on tape. George agreeing with Fergus.
But no, the elements that he laid out were good. The problem is that when those things come up for a vote in Congress, there aren't a lot of Republicans who are voting for those things. I mean, you look at what's been happening with in the Senate Finance Committee with the big three Republicans negotiating with the big three Democrats, and they put together the package, and lo and behold, none of the Republicans are supporting the package. And you wonder, what was that discussion all about for 4 months? And so...
Here's another reform. I mean, we can shop for car insurance across state lines, but we can't shop for health insurance across state lines. That's a reform that Republicans and Democrats ought to be able to get on the same side of.
It's so basic. It's so basic. All right. Unfortunately, we are out of time, so we're going to have to leave it there. I want to thank my panel, Fergus Cullen, Josh Rogers, and George Bruno, for joining us here this morning on this Sunday morning edition of Politics in Progress. That's going to do it for us. Join us again next Sunday, same time, 11 o'clock, right here for Politics in Progress. Have a good Sunday afternoon.
Ashworth by the Sea offers the ultimate beachfront dining experience. With 4 unique oceanfront dining options, there is truly something for everyone's palate, along with a full entertainment schedule that keeps everybody coming back for more.